Hi, I am Centimus Prime, and here I will be showing you a build I've made using the parts from the LEGO Creator number 31088 Deep Sea Creatures set. And this is a pretty interesting one for me because I've seen many people on YouTube making all kinds of alternate builds using the parts from this set in particular, ranging from all kinds of like cool underwater creatures to little transforming things that are really nice to play with. And I kind of wanted to build something like one of those things, like this. So we can I guess we'll take a look at this. So starting off with the head. And you do see that that's a pretty cool looking head with a little face plate and these hinge pieces up here, kind of forming together to form this really nice almost communist sunglasses look. It's really cool. Now, I did base this head design off of a head design I saw from a alternative build using this exact set from a fellow YouTuber, Alan Yap, who also makes all kinds of cool alternative builds, including a few from this very set. I will note that I did indeed base this head design off of that, but I didn't completely copy the head design. You see, the way the faceplate looks and this gold gem thing on the crest, those weren't there on his build. So I really like this look. I wanted to pull off the same look, but I didn't want it to be exactly the same as that. I feel like I just really like the head design. But even though that the head is based off of another build, the rest of the body is completely from scratch. So coming down, you do get this nice big red chest area with the wide shoulders with these white shoulder pauldron things, little teeth sticking out the shoulders. You do have these white parts sticking through to create a little extra details and stuff. You do see that the shoulder mounted shoulder cannon things, yeah, they look good. They do look pretty dark. I do like layer parts on top of each other to make this. I did put this fin over here to bulk it out a little bit. Going down, he does have an extremely thin waist, but that's due to the nature of the ball joints that come with the set. Now, I didn't intend for this to happen. When I was designing this, I didn't intend for it to look like this, but after I was done building it and looking at the whole build, it kind of looks like he's wearing jeans. Just how his bottom section is all dark blue. It kind of gives me the impression that he's wearing jeans, you know? And here's a gold little belt buckle. You get some gold detailings here on shins. Get these little red toe things. Look at it from the sides. You do see that I've paneled up the sides a little bit to spread out that color. It's Lego, so it's gonna do that. And there's even like these little heel spur things to give it some stability. And here's how it looks from the back. Do get some extra little detailing things like these Technic pins, as well as some little back greebling, including this, which I guess you can say is a tail, but I don't know. I'll explain what that is later. But for now, let's focus on the arms. The arms are quite interesting because rather than building it so the studs are pointing outward, I basically built them upside down so the studs are pointed like towards the mat, towards the middle of this, towards the center of this build, and with the anti-studs facing out. It is done in a. I did think outside of the box when doing this sort of building technique. Like, I've built this shoulder section, then attached these snot pieces here to attach the bicep to the side, to these to these studs on the side, and then build the arms from there. It is kind of interesting. Looking down at the forearms, and I will admit the color scheme, the colors of the forearm aren't really that interesting in my opinion, but I was just using the parts that I had. But okay, but he does have these nice, like fingers, like sharp fingers, so that's cool. And he also has these and does have these forearm mounted cannon things, and they are meant to be little cannons, like little firing weapons that shoot out his forearms. And I will actually like show you a little something, because like these parts up here, these like little translucent pieces, yeah, I built it like this, so these translucent parts sort of acts like a blast effect pieces in some way, so you can pop these off, and that's how those look. That's how those shoulder mounted cannons look without it. They look alright even without them. And you can actually attach these on the anti-studs of these cannons, so you can have him fire out of his forearms. That's pretty cool. At least I think it's cool. And hey, that's it. Just gives you more options for the for this robot. As for articulation, his head is on a simple ball joint. You can look up pretty far, down pretty far, tilt to side to side. For the shoulder-mounted cannons can swivel left and right, can hinge left and right. Not swivel, they hinge. And yes, these are on hinges. The shoulders are on ball joints. They can do like an almost 90. Not quite, but almost. They do, however, get good like range like this. You can do that, and you can you can move the ball joints around. And the elbow, you get a decent bit past 90. Pretty decent. And of course, each finger on the hand, it can hinge up and down. Pretty good. The waist is on a ball joint. Get lots of range of movement out of that. The hips are on a ball joint. Unlimited ball joint. Knee on a ball joint. Can bend all sorts of which ways. And the foot has a little bit of a hinge due to that toe thing. So you can pose this guy around. And pretty interesting poses. Very nice. I'm going to get this box out of the way so we can do the size comparisons. Here he is. Actually, first let's stand him up a little straighter so we can do this professionally. Here he is next to, well, she's not named yet, but this is one of my previous alternative builds. And here is another one of my alternative builds. And here he is next to a minifigure. Very nice. Does have a good bit of size to him. He is a bit tall. He's a bit lanky, but he's tall. So get these out of the way. And now, let's transform him. Because yes, this guy can transform. I'm 5 marks in, and this is the only guy who can actually transform. So to transform him, first we can fold these red toes down. We're gonna flip him upside down and flip him down like this. So his head is gonna swing back like so. You move his arms out of the way so you can swing, so you can rotate these cannons all the way around past the joint of the arms. Then you fold the fingers out like this. You bend the elbows all the way. Then you rotate the arms, so that's the forearms. So this whole thing is resting on his forearms. Then what you do is you rotate these so you maneuver these ball joints so that the legs now form these arm weapon things. And you can flip this piece around, and there. Now you have this guy all transformed up into this alternative creature mode thing. It's a weird little transformation, but I think it works. Of course, we have the arms, which are nice and posable, and now look like he has little claw weapons. Very nice. Still maintains the waist articulation, still maintains the ball joints here, and he still has these cannons on the sides. No, it's a simple little thing. It ain't much of a transformer, but it can transform. And I think it looks alright. I think some might find it underwhelming. If you want, you can flip those around. You can flip those around so they don't stick out of the back. Alright, very cool. But of course, I had to make my first transforming alternative build on camera. A triple changer. Yep, this guy can triple change. So first, we rotate this up so that these studs tap into these anti-studs tap into those studs. Boom. Hopefully without tearing this thing apart. Keep that there. You maneuver these and rotate these back. Get the head out of the way. Please don't get out of the way. Please don't fall apart, arm. This arm likes to fall apart. Okay, so move those. Actually, you move these claw things back, rotate this up, straighten these up, take these off, then you swing these panels up, rotate these claws down, straighten up the arms, straighten up the fingers, utilize the ball joints to rotate like so, straighten out the fingers, then use these translucent sections to attach to the forearm cannons. So sort of act as thruster energy or something. You're actually gonna rotate these fingers this way now. Then there. We're done with, we can move these this way and then bam, we're done. Here is the flight mode for this alternative build. And you know what? I think it looks really nice. You do get a little bit of extra transformation out of this alternative build. Now, I will say a downside to this mode is that really nothing plugs in. The arms don't plug in, these don't plug in. The only thing that actually does plug in is the waist to the chest to the torso. But I think it's alright using the parts from this set. Do get some awesome thrusters, rockets back here, rocket thrusters. Very neat. And these can actually pose around because they're not tapped in. They can pose around. You can have it do that. Pretty cool. And with these, I do like how I give it a little bit of extra transformation by adding these fins and having them swing out. Does make it look neat. So you can like pose these things, the thruster things around. You can pose these claws around. He can still use his claws. So, but now he's like he's a flying thing. And in this mode, these Technic pins now sort of look like guns, that you can like fire as enemies. Very neat. Or I think it's neat. So you have a good bit of good. I will say, I do like the color scheme. This color scheme in this mode particularly. It's very, very interesting how like the reds and the blues just flow through, and then the whites just show up in the spots that they are. Very, very nice. Now, there is something else I've built using the parts, and that is this. No, it is not a baby cradle, although it does kind of look like that. This is actually some sort of flight stand for this build. You can use it like pose it up and like rotate it around. It simply just rests on this cradle thing. It doesn't actually plug in any way, but I do think it's nice. Very nice. It's nice to see that I've used like some of the remaining parts to help make this flight mode look that much cooler. And speaking of, here's the parts even with this side build thing, it still left me with quite a few parts. I can actually like display them. Parts including, these are some parts that are, these are the parts that I didn't incorporate into the build. We have, of course, these parts, which I do notice that throughout all these alternative builds, these two parts are extremely hard to use for any alternate builds. I just find it funny. With all these like cool parts, there's just these two parts that are like very weird, and they're like they are weird. But these are like parts that are like make no sense to the build aside from the actual like build. Actual like main build. Not even the side builds use these for that creator set. Now I have found ways to make this piece look interesting in some alternate builds, but the crate, it's just parts that are really like, they were good in that one build, but pretty interesting to try to incorporate in other alternate builds. And of course we have all the parts here. Let's move that out of the way. So let's get into the vehicle mode, like size comparisons. For vehicle mode things, well, obviously here we have the minifigure, and here we have this space shuttle thing, alternate build that I've made, and the hover like bike build that I've made. That I've made with the parts for this build. That's pretty alright. Let's go ahead and bring back these guys. Of course, making these builds are really fun. And so like, I'm showing these guys in front of you because you might notice that I don't really name these mocks during, like, when I do their videos. And that's because I try to have it so that you, the audience, can name them if you want. Because I think that would be interesting to do for my mocks, is to build these mocks and record them, and to have you guys have the opportunity to get to name these guys, to get to name my alternate builds through the comments. Again, don't have to, but it's something I wanted to try. So, like, dead air. And the reason why I brought this up is because this guy right here, who by the way I am now naming, is like, who now has a name, who I've now given a name to. I'm gonna take this guy apart to make other builds with. But don't worry, he's not going away forever. I can always just go back and just rebuild him. Don't worry, I've made a video on how to build these guys. I'm going to make a video on how to build this guy sometime. And yeah, I will note that this guy right here, who I'm going to name the Imperium Samurai. Yes, I've decided to call him the Imperium Samurai. This guy right here, he's gained me a butt ton of views, and I really thank you for that. And I figured, because this guy gave me over 1,000 views across two videos, I figured this guy at least earned a name before I take him apart. But hey, you can always, I will give you the opportunity to name these guys before I take them apart. And if not, it's alright. And with that, that'll be it. If you enjoyed this video, please consider to like and subscribe, and maybe even comment if you want. And of course, I will be posting again sooner or later.